Doctor Doom forms his own Thunderbolts team, and it's amazing what happens that leads him to do it. So what this does is this picks up in the aftermath of the World Strike Thunderbolt arc that we just covered, the one where Bucky and Contessa basically reform the Thunderbolts, they defeat the Red Skull. And so Doctor Doom, talking directly to Bucky, is he says, "Do you know the tale of Sergei? You should, for in many ways you are the same man. He too did not know his mother. He too refused to follow his father into a life of obscurity. He also loved a Russian assassin with delusions of heroism, and he became shaped by the history of his century into a weapon of extraordinary discipline. Like you and I, he saw the inequities of the world as a moral cataclysm, an infection of those who'd feign righteousness but practice cowardice. And like us both, despite attempts to create solidarity with others, he stood alone. He died with nothing, imprisoned by the very power he spent his life opposing, rejected by those with lesser vision who'd stood beside him on the battlements. His only lasting mark on the world was a book of those visions, the sum total of a noble life. Do you know what Sergei called the revolutionary in those pages? James Buchanan Barnes, a doomed man." Now, here's the cool thing, right? Number one, that's one of the dopest speeches that I think I've ever heard Dr. Doom give in Marvel Comics. But a little bit of catch up here, right? When I say that the Thunderbolts forced Dr. Doom's hand, the Red Skull was basically resurrecting himself, essentially, within the kingdom of Latveria under the nose of Dr. Doom without Dr. Doom knowing. So when the Thunderbolts intended to travel to Latveria, Doom became aware of it, told them not to come there. Ultimately, they did, and then of course Doom arrived on the scene and destroyed Red Skull once he realized what was going on. But again, when it comes to Dr. Doom, civil disobedience is still disobedience, and it'll be dealt with. And so this entire scenario, right, between Dr. Doom and Bucky is pretty dope, because you guys will see what I'm talking about. So the thing about this is he approaches Bucky with an offer. Bucky literally says, "I can't tell if you're trying to scare me or impress me, Vic," which I think it also needs to be stated here. Bucky's probably the only person in Marvel Comics that can refer to Dr. Doom as Vic, but Doom simply says, "Doom requires neither. My victory is already complete." But at the end of the day, Bucky takes offense to the fact that Dr. Doom is flying his flag in what used to be Bucky's old military base. Now keep in mind, this takes place after Fantastic Four issue number 28 and One World Under Doom number 1. So Doom's already established himself as effectively the leader of the world, with the world's permission to do so. It's one of the big distinctions here, right? One World Under Doom is not Doom forcing the world into subservience, it's the world choosing him. And that's why Doom says, "No, James, I'm trying to thank you. Your campaign against the Red Skull was an inspiration, a reminder that history need not constrain our future ambitions. You thought to teach the world that no great evil is beyond the capacity of heroic forces to control. Surely, most men would have kept the final death of the Red Skull for themselves. But instead, man of shadows that you are, you came to Latveria and provoked Doom into taking the final shot, a reminder of my raw talent for obliteration, which I would then use on his would-be successor, Zemo, cementing my role as this world's master." And so the initial indication of what Doom is putting off here is that Bucky inspired him, right? Bucky could have very easily just killed the Red Skull, and Doom never would have known that Bucky was there, right? The Thunderbolts could have snuck in. Such as it was, I mean, they literally came flying out of a jet like Captain America from the Winter Soldier film, right? Just jumping out without parachutes. Well, they have parachutes, but you guys get what I'm saying. Making a lot of noise and drawing a lot of attention so that Doom would show up. But it could have been done in secret, and Doom never would have been the wiser. But Bucky, in simply inviting Doom or making Doom aware, was making a statement to the world. The Red Skull is the worst of the worst, right? The most sadistic villain, the one villain that no villain in the Marvel Universe wants to have anything to do with. But because he made that statement, it inspired Doom to say, I can do something to fix the world too. I can make the world better. Now, it's kind of funny because Bucky draws that. He says, you're saying that your rule is my fault. And the response of Doom, no, right? I'm as awesome as I am because of me, because I'm Dr. Doom, right? And Doom is just awesome, right? I mean, that's literally what he tells him, right? Like Sergei, before you have aligned yourself so long with the tragic ideals of the reactionary that you cannot yet see the actual ground on which you stand. You have won. So literally tells him, you've spent so much time losing, you don't know or recognize when you win. And he says the levers of power and exploitation that once dominated your world are in ashes, and in their place, the man you yourself trusted to land the final blow in your war. So now, Doom offers you a place in his world. Divest yourself of the fantasy of the doomed man and fight for the world you made, Bucky Barnes. Lead my secret police, the Fulgur Victoris. Take a place at the right hand of Doom. Kill with impunity. Punish the disloyal, and strike at the heart of those who'd return us to the shackles of normalcy like lightning. And then in response, what does Bucky do? Do you hear that, Contessa? The guy's putting together a secret police, and we have it on tape. The whole thing was a trap. It was a ruse by Bucky Barnes to get Dr. Doom to reveal his hand, what he was actually planning here. And that's kind of what's been going on the entire time. The Fantastic Four tried to do it, it didn't work. The Avengers tried to do it, it certainly didn't work. And now the Thunderbolts are trying to do it, and it's not going to work, because he literally tells Contessa, teleport me out of here. Dr. Doom is pissed. He's like, really? Dude, I'm so disappointed in you, but I am not surprised. The crazy thing is that, again, this is a life model decoy of Contessa. She's been using this for quite some time. And so what goes on here is, of course, she teleports Bucky out, but Dr. Doom tells the soldiers, do not fire. I will handle this personally. Now, when Bucky Barnes is teleported out, he's not teleported directly into Thunderbolts Mountain. He's teleported outside of Thunderbolts Mountain. And he says that, right? Like, I'm teleported outside of this place. Like, what in the world is going on here? And ultimately, Contessa's just like, I'm getting temperature readings throughout the complex, and the pressure warning system's going haywire. Third electrical storm this week. And that's where Bucky's like, it's not an electrical storm. You guys have to get out of there as fast as you can. Like, the whole place explodes. Like, Doom blows up Thunderbolts Mountain. And at that point, he appears to Bucky in what's probably the coldest, like, ultimatum that I've ever seen, right? He literally says, Revolution, listen well. Revolution being the alternate name that Bucky uses. And he's like, your Thunderbolts are finished. Your mountain is ash. Doom will not hesitate to do the same to the rest of your pathetic team if you're foolish enough to call for their aid. Only your services previously rendered stay your execution. You have 1 week to decide. Bow or watch everything you've ever loved burn. Repent now, James Buchanan Barnes. Only Doom can save you. It's amazing, dude. It's one of the coolest lines that I've ever heard Doom throw out in Marvel Comics. So, of course, Bucky Barnes does the most reasonable thing. The opposite of what Doom demanded. He meets up with Black Widow in Shelbyville, Indiana, his hometown. And again, Bucky and Black Widow are basically a couple now, right? You know, they're kind of a thing together. And there's a lot of love there, because in the conversation that he has with Natasha, she's like, so just to make sure I understand here, you spat in the face of Victor Von Doom, of Dr. Doom. Are you serious? Dude, that's a terrible decision. Like, I don't know why you did that, but at the end of the day, you did. And there's really nothing we can do about it. And that's where Bucky's response here is, it's better than giving him the greatest propaganda win of his little mind control empire. And her response, that was stupid, right? We don't know the first thing about what his plan is. He's pushing us all into moves of foolish abandon. And she's like, I know you wish this was simple, but the reality is, it's not. Now, this is a very important thing to understand about Black Widow, and it's one of the things that the MCU kind of got right, but not really. So Black Widow in Marvel Comics is every bit as capable as Captain America. Number one, because she does have some measure of a super soldier serum inside of her, but also because of the fact that she is battle hardened, and she is a prodigious combatant, as well as a battle strategist. So when you're talking about her being in a situation where she looks around and she's like, things are not what they seem, you should really be paying attention, because you're talking about a woman who has done everything from just covert Black Ops wet work stuff all the way up to like high profile assassinations. anything and everything she's capable of doing. And that's why when she talks to Bucky, she kind of gives him the lay of the land here, right? The Avengers are frozen. Tony's acting even shadier than usual. There are wolves at every door, and Doom is goading you. Do not let him trap you in the cycle of violence. Create a plan, call together the team. And that's where Bucky says, I have, right? Red Guardian is looking after his own. White Widow's gone solo. Destroyer's AWOL. Walker's gone no contact. Shang-Chi is boxed in by politics. And Val's a malfunctioning, barely conscious life model decoy in a duffel bag. And he's like, it's us, the Black Widow and the Revolution. We're the only Thunderbolts that are left. So you're right about playing his game. We don't have the numbers for insurgency, only sabotage. And fortunately for us, this is not my first Reich. I was in France in 45. When it comes to breaking the engines of fascism, I learned from the best. Also because you just can't shut up about France in 1945. And so she's like, okay, so then what's the big scheme here? And the response of Bucky? Doom just gave us one hell of a target. The first thing you look for in a dirty fight is where the other guy's telling you he doesn't want to get hit. Dr. Doom won't say it. He doesn't think that he'll show it, but he already has. It's in how he plays his defense, where he favors, where he takes his extra effort. 12,000 nuclear warheads. That's the world's entire arsenal. Last week, Victor announced he was taking them all and putting them in a suborbital satellite lockbox. Most of his little treasures he keeps in Latveria, but the nukes he put behind a barrier that no one can get past without clearance to a launch pad. Fortunately, Doom's entire Air Force uses the same clearance codes, so we're going to plug in what's left of Val. She's going to disarm the entire arsenal, and then we're going to hit him where he doesn't want to get hit. And that's where Natasha's like, I mean, okay, that's a really solid plan, but like, you're forgetting an issue, Bucky. How in the world are you going to get into space? Right? And in the response of Bucky here, and you guys who are Thunderbolts fans are going to love this. He's like, it just means that I need someone with super strength, flight, a real disregard for authority, and a loyalty to the Thunderbolts. And it turns out I know just the bird. He brings in Songbird, right? Now, the reason why I say Thunderbolts fans love this is because Songbird is one of the original Thunderbolts in Marvel under Baron Zemo. So this is one of those things where outside of what you're going to see here in this particular moment, there's not a whole lot doing, but it is a great callback to like the original Thunderbolts run, especially if you were a Warren Ellis fan, right? It's just a great callback to the OG days. And so that's why, right, when they're having this conversation, she's like, you know, I got to be honest, I'm really kind of glad you rang. I saw your kaiju fight on the news, and it was kind of cool. Right now, the kaiju fight was Bucky Barnes being given a bracelet by Shang-Chi to turn him into a giant so he could fight American kaiju, right? It was kind of nuts. It was a giant dude fighting basically Marvel's Godzilla. I mean, it was dope. Don't get me wrong, but it was kind of wild to see. And so at the end of the day, like, Bucky essentially defers to Songbird. She's been a part of the Thunderbolts, or at least been associated with the team, much longer than Bucky has. And that's why he says, it's your team, Songbird. I just borrowed it for a little while. Drop the sonic atmosphere field, then we can fly on my 6 until we're good to go. And so it's like, cool, let's get in there. Now, when they get to this suborbital platform, this thing is gigantic. It's effectively a space station by all standards of measurement. And it almost looks like something that Dr. Doom would retreat to if it was necessary. But you're also talking about a place designed to hold 12,000 nuclear bombs. So it's not one of these things where it can be small. It's gotta be huge. And so once they get inside and Songbird basically busts the doors, she's like, so, I mean, this didn't trigger any alarm system whatsoever. And Bucky kind of leans into it, right? He's like, well, I mean, this is Victor Von Doom we're talking about, right? I mean, this guy believes that he's undefeatable. This guy believes that no one would be smart enough to overcome him. So certainly he would create a system like this that wouldn't necessarily be able to be passable. The other part of that is, I mean, anybody who would be able to break in here using conventional weapons would have to risk detonating an explosive in a space station full of nuclear weapons. It's not exactly something that you go into guns blazing. And so once they hook Val up to the satellite, it turns out Bucky's been played. Because at that moment, Dr. Doom chimes in. He's like, hello, Barnes. And he's like, Doom is neither a fool nor a tyrant. He is power. Because the question to ask here is, how could Bucky Barnes be so stupid as to believe he could outsmart Dr. Doom? Are you serious, bro? Like, not a chance, right? And so Doom is like, you had a simple choice to make. You have chosen chosen the unfortunate but predictable third option. So now I must do the same. And that's where Bucky's like, oh my God, these nukes, they're all pointed down, right? And Doom is just like, only a fool destroys a weapon he can use. And Doom is no fool. Now watch, Barnes, as I end your revolution. And fires off one of the nukes, right? Now, Bucky Barnes is attached to this thing. So like the clock's ticking, right? This thing is like headed towards Earth. Bucky Barnes chimes into Natasha and he's like, okay, so here's the thing. I need you to teach me how to disarm a nuclear bomb, and I need you to do it like my life depends on it. And she's like, what do you mean your life depends on it? It's like, well, it literally does, because I'm riding a nuke down to Earth and I need to disarm this thing. Otherwise, I and a lot of other people are going to die. But the reality here is there's not enough time. And Bucky's doing what he can, where he can, and even having flashbacks to his own story where he was trying to disarm the plane of the original helmet Zemo that ultimately resulted in him being injured and taken in by the KGB and being turned into the Winter Soldier. But the idea here, right, Bucky says, Nat, if this thing impacts, and she's like, no, you can't talk that way. And he's like, then just tell me that it's going to hit the ocean or the desert or something like that. And the response to Natasha, I'm sorry, Bucky, but it's going to drop on Indiana. It's going to hit Shelbyville. And so that's where Natasha is just like, there's nothing you can do. This nuke is headed to Earth and you don't have enough time to stop it. So she's like, Songbird, get him out of there. And Songbird's like, I can't make it. Like, I don't have enough time to do it. And she's like, Bucky, let go. You have to let this thing fall. You're going to get yourself killed if you don't. And there'll be nobody to stand against Doom. And Bucky lets it go. The nuke hits Shelbyville and wipes out 20,000 people like that. It's crazy. It's just like, wow, Dr. Doom just nuked a town. Like, holy cow. I told you guys this comic was dope. Right? So at that point, the news comes on, right? And they say, America and the world grieve together tonight as the death toll of the Shelbyville event reaches 20,000. And an official release directly from the office of Emperor Doom, we have received shocking footage of the terrorists responsible for the attack. Our analysts have confirmed the following recording as genuine. And it's the voice of Bucky when he was talking to Natasha, and he says, Doom just gave us one hell of a target. He's spinning it to make it look like Bucky nuked Shelbyville on purpose, right? And so again, the news chimes back in. The one-time hero and partner of Captain America, Bucky Barnes, currently known by his alias The Revolution, is at large and considered highly dangerous. If you have any information that could lead his arrest or capture, immediately call our tip line. Then the news anchor chimes in and it's just like, Doom is addressing us directly. So they cut over to him, right? And Doom says, to the people of America, Doom grieves with you. The atrocity committed today is a black stain on the legacy of the Pax Victoris, though Doom seeks nothing but to protect his people, to uplift them and ensure a lasting forever peace. Your poisoned cultures leave behind violent terrorists. The apprehension of the mass murderer, James Buchanan Barnes, as well as any who aid and abet him, must be achieved swiftly. Your petty local laws must not stand in Doom's way. And so I wish to rule without the iron fist of superhuman force at my back. Barnes has forced my hand. I hereby announce the formation of the Fulgur Victoris, a worldwide anti-terrorism task force dedicated to the destruction of those who would put violence between this world and Doom's peace. They are my Thunderbolts, and where they strike, only justice will remain. At that moment, right, what used to be one of the aux listening stations, basically one of the bases of Contessa, like Citizen V smashes into this place, right? Kicks the door down. Where's Bucky Barnes? And no one knows, right? No one knows the answer to Bucky. The whole network was built by the ground up by Contessa. Now, it's one of the cool things. Contessa's very much like Nick Fury in that way, right? They only ever really trust themselves. Now, where Contessa is anybody's guess, because it's all just been a life model decoy this entire time. And so where this one guy's just like, I mean, you need to access the Contessa's personal network. That's never going to happen without her. The response of Citizen V, okay, well, that's cool. Then I certainly don't need you. And this dude's neck gets snapped with a quickness. And so at that moment, you have Citizen V directly addressing the fixer, right? Norbert, right? The guy that fixes suits and makes them more capable and so on and so forth. And Citizen V says everything that we extracted from that disgusting LMD head and everything it did to help Barnes' pathetic insurgency should be considered confirmed. Now, of course, the response of Fixer is, I mean, okay, cool, well, I made that suit for you, so at least give me some credit, right, for making like a really dope suit that helped you overcome all these different threats. And that's where this person says, I'm not a head in a bag. I'm not some ghost story to be told in the gulags. I'm the founder of Ox. I'm the best damn intelligence agent on the planet. And I'm the only person in Doom's security service without a Latverian accent. So put some respect on my name. I'm the true Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, and I'm taking back what's mine. The real Contessa is alive. And the question has to be asked, man, like, what in the world is her plan? Because I will say this, man, what Marvel's been doing with Contessa recently, she's very similar to like the old school Nick Fury. Not exact, but she's very similar and every bit as capable. So I'm excited to find out, man. With that being said, guys, we're going to bring this to an end. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you all later. Peace.